working a lot with parabolic stringers, putting the stringer in the rail, working with the flex patterns that provides with polyurethane, and I'm really excited about it. It gives a little bit of a spring back in the direction that you go with your turn. So instead of having the stringer in the middle and flexing back in a kind of a straight direction, this is actually going with your turn, and it gives you an extra added enhanced performance.
Does it change your style when you do that of riding?
I don't think so. I think what you get, if anything, is a little bit more freedom and the ability to go in places that you didn't quite get. I really noticed that on something like a roundhouse cutback, where as you get out on the flat, you bend the stringer and then it'll spring you back into the whitewater, and you get a lot of boost to speed. So something that you notice almost immediately, depending upon the size of the board. If you get a long board, you can really feel it a lot. Short board, you feel it a little less. If you're heavy, you feel it a lot. If you're light, you feel it a little less. But everybody feels it, so it's something that ought to be tried.
Hey, cool. Can you show us some of your boards?
Sure.
Some of the new stuff you got working on?
This is what I'm talking about. It's with the stringer and the rail.
It's got to not be easy to do.
Well, it's a little difficult. It's well worth it. These are dyed basswood, so this is a stringer too. It's a 4-fin, or this is actually the option of a 5-fin or a 3-fin. This is a really great beach break board. It's got a full concave bottom and a concave deck. And what it does with no stringer in it and the polyurethane, it allows it to get deck imprints so that you get really like an orthotic shoe. So that it's incredible because you actually know where your feet go, and it gives you a little platform. And by being concave, having the deck concave, you don't get the tippy effect that you would with a dome deck. So it'd be like standing on a plank or a piece of plywood or on a log. The log you'd be rolling, the plank's steady, and so it gives you a platform to get really a lot of leverage in your turns. And when you land it, also when you're doing off the lips or aerial or something like that, you've got a base to land on. So that's the most versatile board I've come up with in the last few years, actually.
So do you have a name for that board?
That's the Lunar.
The orthotic part. That's pretty cool. I mean, it makes sense to me in my head.
It's totally mind-blowing. I mean, it fits your feet, and I had this old board, the first one I made of this board, model, the Master. I've ridden it for about 2.5 years, and it's just so dented, but it's so comfortable. I mean, my feet go right where they go, and when I do a backside reentry, and I can curl the thing, and it'll pop up, and my feet will stay on the right spot and land. It's just something that works. So we're going with it.
Nice.
Not having the stringer in the middle, and you don't have any place where it just sticks up. Your body, your rib cage, everything all makes these nice spots. Also working with the 4-fin guns. The 4-fins have pretty much across the board been the most popular board I've been using, but even in your big wave boards, that third fin is almost like an anchor, because water's going through the middle of the board, and then with the fin there, it catches water and slows you down. The 4-fin really gives a thrust of speed, and on big waves, instead of having to go all the way to the bottom and then turning and trying to get your rail to project and getting hit by the whitewater, you can actually do a little bit of a mid-face, more of a mid-face turn, and get out in front of the whitewater. And so it's actually allowed me to do a little bit more performance big wave riding.
What would you recommend as far as like if I wanted to get one of your boards?
Well, a lot depends on the individual. That's a great thing we got going today, that we still have surfers and shapers that can make you a custom board.
Yeah.
It's not just your weight, not just your age, it's your surfing ability, the waves that you want to surf. So you kind of got to tailor that. Where I like to start out with is a board that you're using, that you're comfortable, because volume is the most important. Once I get this perspective of how much volume it is, and it's really hard to do from 5 you know, 5'10", 18 and a half, 2 1/4. You can put that foam in a whole bunch of places.
Yeah.
But like with the concave deck, you're going to ride a 1 7/8
Wow.
for thickness because you got so much concave in the bottom of the deck and the rails are still full, which is where you need the foam.
Yeah.
But let's say you're used to riding a 6'2", 6'4", something like that, probably work out all right. 20 inches wide, probably about 2 1/8 on this model. That would give you a real comfortable paddle. What you want to do is you want to put surface below your motor, which is your arms.
Okay.
So width is probably the best single most important dimension that you can use to get increased paddling power. If you make it thicker, you know, you can make it 4 inches thick, but that wouldn't really help you that much. It'll float more, but it could still be tippy. But if you made it 22 inches wide, it's going to support you.
It's pretty stable.
So you want to get yourself up above the water and be able to paddle. That's where you need to have the volume. So it's where you put the foam, not how much you put it.
Wow, okay. That's, you know, I didn't know that. Now I know. And these are things to know. I mean, when a consumer's looking for a board, you know, things to think about. Because today you walk into a shop and some kid says, hey, you can ride this potato chip that Kelly rides. It ain't gonna happen for me.
No, it's not gonna happen. I was thinking about that last night too, looking at all the boards, and you know, there's a lot of boards come back with more volume and everything, and I've looked at my boards in the 80s when we rode short boards, but they had very full rails, they had flat decks, and they had a little bit more width, and people could ride them. And then they took all the volume out of them, and especially took the volume out in the rails, so they became difficult to ride. So I think that what we should be looking at is just, like I said, increasing the amount of foam so that first you can catch the wave. Once you catch the wave, and that's where your ability comes in. If you're a really good surfer, you can get away with not so much volume, and you want the rail to be really sensitive and thin and responsive, but if you know, that's because you don't have any problem catching the wave.
Yeah.
I mean, as the degrees go, less ability, more age, or less strength, you need to have enough foam to get into that wave. Once you're up, then we can start taking it down, refining it. But
so, in your opinion, what's the perfect quiver? Let's say for San Diego, what would be the perfect quiver?
For my size, I'd like probably a short board. My short board's 5'9",
wow.
18 and a half, 2 1/4. I like probably a step up board to about 6'1", 6'3", and that probably wouldn't get ridden that much. Because most of the time I just use a smaller board. Then I'd like to have something in the 6'8", 6'10" range when it gets a little hollower beach break. 7'2", something like that for when the reefs start getting good. Then go to 8'6", 9'6", and a 10'6".
Wow. For the big days, huh?
For bigger. Yeah. Anything above 8'6" is probably a little too big for San Diego, but I like to surf Todos Santos and Mavericks.
You're crazy.
And some other.
Go on the record. You're crazy. You have a website?
Yeah, lindensurfboards.com, and personally can ride any of the boards that I make for you, so they're all tested, proven. You don't have to worry about if they work or not.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right.